What is going on, YouTube fam? Welcome to another car conversation on the Jonathan Dearman Show. And we got some important stuff to talk about today. First, really quickly though, I want to touch on my vegan experience. In case you didn't see, I made a video saying that I was going vegan in the month of November. And I did. And it was really tough. And there's a couple things that I learned. Number one, I learned that I have mad respect for the discipline of vegans, because there are a lot of food items that have some sort of animal product in there, even if it's not meat. And I found myself just constantly having to look at the ingredients on things and things that you would assume are probably vegan, and then you read the back of it and there's something in there that's non-vegan, so you can't have it. So I felt like, because I was so used to eating meal all the time, I felt like I was just eating side dishes. For me is what it felt like, even though I'm sure there's some creative ways to come up with great vegan recipes. But all that to say, mad respect to the discipline of vegans. It takes a ton of intentionality. The second thing I learned is that veganism is just not for me at this point. So many food items you have to say no to, and so if you don't have a strong moral reason why, it can be really tough. But it was worth it. I'm glad I did it, and I learned a lot, and only gained respect for the discipline that it takes to be a vegan. All right, now let's talk about the big news, which is that Trump officially just got impeached yesterday, which is to be expected. If I was a betting man, I would have bet they were going to impeach him with all that was going on. To be clear, in case you didn't know this, that does not mean he's being removed from the White House or removed from being the president. The likelihood that he's going to be removed from being the president at this point is zero. There's absolutely zero chance that he's going to be removed at this point unless some new major hard-hitting evidence comes out. And the reason why is because when the House of Representatives impeach a president, what it really means, and I honestly made a video talking about what impeachment is on my channel a while ago. I'll put the link. It's either here or here, one of the two. I'll put the link up there. But essentially what it means is that he now goes to trial, and the Senate acts as the judge and the jury in the trial. So the Senate gets the final say, and the Senate either gets to determine, is he convicted and removed, or is he acquitted and goes back to being the president, or continues, I should say, to be the president. And currently the majority of senators are Republican, and not any of them are budging at this point. They according to them, they believe that this whole thing is just a plot to try to take President Trump out, and so they're not budging. So with that being said, what effects does this have on the future elections? What effect does it have on our nation? When it comes to elections, this upcoming election in 2020, it actually appears that it doesn't have a big effect. It seems like people are either set on impeaching him, that he should be removed, or not. It doesn't seem like it's swayed a ton of people. If anything, the latest polls are showing that it's swaying people more towards President Trump. His approval rating has actually gone up over the past month or so. It really doesn't have a giant effect on what happens now. The bottom line with that is life's gonna move on. For some people, I think they think that this means that President Trump is being removed, and that is not the case. There's a big difference between being impeached and then being impeached and removed or convicted by the Senate. And again, there's just zero chance that happens unless some miraculous evidence comes out that no one expected, that convinces Republicans that currently have not swayed at all. It's just not going to happen. Now, with this whole impeachment thing, my opinion, in case you didn't know the story, long story short, President Trump was on the phone with the president of Ukraine, and he was asking him to look into a few items of corruption. And one of the items was Joe Biden, and how Joe Biden was pushing for a prosecutor to be fired in order to get American aid. And that prosecutor also happened to be looking into a company that Joe Biden's son worked for. With that situation in particular, I'm not convinced that Joe Biden was intentionally going after this prosecutor because he was looking into his son's company. I don't know. We just don't know, but I'm not convinced that's the case. President Trump, his defense that he had was, it was a perfect phone call. And he kept saying that it was a perfect phone call. I don't think that was the greatest defense that he could have chosen because, in my opinion, I don't think it was a perfect phone call. While you could say it was within the right of him as the president to look into areas that he sees potential corruption in, which is true. It is a little fishy when you're asking specifically to look into someone that is probably currently your top political opponent It is suspicious, which is why if I was President Trump's advisor, I would advise not to be probably pursuing that as we head into the elections, because it can look fishy that you're asking a leader of another country to look into somebody that you're running up against for the next presidential election. And it's not a coincidence, obviously, that he's asking to look into Joe Biden, as Joe Biden is his top political opponent. Is it illegal, though? It's not illegal. The president has the right to look into areas of corruption where he sees fit. And this wasn't the only area of corruption that he was asking the president of Ukraine to look into. It was one of a variety of areas that he was asking the president to look into. But I personally wouldn't advise it, so I don't think it was a perfect phone call. But I don't think it's illegal either. It's not that I don't think it's illegal. It's just not illegal to ask as the president for someone to look into areas that you believe corruption has taken place. Now, with that being said, the problem that I have on the flip side, and this is a big issue that really bothers me. Ever since President Trump became elected, various Democrats have been shouting to impeach him from the moment he got elected. And so what's ended up happening is, first, the decision in a lot of people's hearts and minds has been, let's impeach him, and then the task has been, now let's find what we can do to impeach him. That's irritating to me. To me personally, that's frustrating. If you already decide in your mind, let's impeach him, and because we want to impeach him, now let's look for something we can impeach him with, that to me is irritating. That bothers me personally. I don't feel like that's right. I don't want to live in a society where the Republicans do that to the Democrats, where the Democrats do that to the Republicans, where we can determine we don't like this leader, therefore let's find a way to impeach them. It's like first saying, I want that guy in jail, so let's figure out what he's doing wrong. No, your goal should never be to get somebody in jail. Therefore, you look for an opportunity where they're jaywalking, right? So that you can find them and hope they don't pay the ticket so you can send them to jail. You don't hope people get in jail. You don't first decide people should go to jail. You respond to a crime that's committed by the punishment that should be. And so the goal should always be, and in my opinion, should always be hoping that the president, whoever it is going to be successful. No one should hope that the president does things that are impeachable. I mean, why would you hope that our leader fails? It's like if you're flying in a plane, I don't care what the pilot's belief is. I'm rooting for the pilot because he's flying a plane that I'm on. So with this country, America, with President Obama, now with President Trump, doesn't matter what side you're on, you should be rooting for the president. And so if first you determine you want to impeach him, you want to get him out, then that's also a disrespect to the democratic republic that we have here in America. So I'm not a fan of it. I'm not a fan of desiring to impeach a president, even though there's nothing impeachable yet, and then looking for the impeachable offenses so that you can accomplish that goal that you've set in your heart. I'm not a fan of that at all. I'm never closed off to the idea of a president needing to be impeached. Once somebody decides first that they want to impeach a president, and then they're just looking for whatever way they can do it, to me, I'm now standoffish. It's not that I'm completely closed off. If evidence came out that President Trump, was very clearly doing something illegal, I would be on the same page that we need to impeach and remove the president. But I become extra skeptical anytime I see somebody that's saying impeachment and doesn't yet have the crime, or doesn't yet have the high crime or misdemeanor. All of that to say, do I think it was a perfect phone call? I don't. Do I personally think he should have been impeached? No, I don't. And primarily because people were screaming impeachment before they had an offense. If nobody was looking to impeach him, and then this came out and this whole debacle came out and people said, okay, you know what, I think we need to impeach him, I'm not sure where I would land, but I can tell you I would certainly be more open to the idea than I am now that people had first screamed impeachment, then looked for the offense. It just doesn't feel right to me. But with all of that being said, I'm 100% sure that some of you that are watching this video disagree with me and have a different opinion than me. Maybe you do feel like he should have been impeached. Maybe you feel like he should have been impeached and removed. And I would love to hear your opinion in the comments. And as always, I'd love to have that conversation. I'll be responding to all the comments that come in on this video. I love you guys. I appreciate you guys. Thank you all for being subscribers. And yeah, make sure that you stick around, and it's going to be a good season coming up on 2020. I'm excited, got some fun ideas. So yeah, I'll see you around. Thank you all for tuning in to the Jonathan Dearman Show. Peace.